Well, it says we're live on Facebook and YouTube. So
Well,
let's see if the viewers build back up. Let's check it on Facebook.
their Facebook is probably going to curb us, and you know what? That's fine. Go ahead,
Yeah.
curb us, but it doesn't matter. And I got to tell you, I think they're caught. I think they're
Yep.
caught, and
Okay.
I think
All right. Here we go. Um, we are live again on Facebook. I can confirm that unless they shut us down again. So let's give everybody a few minutes.
well,
It's
we're
like
never going to.
everybody's having to chase us around the deal or whatever. So we appreciate your patience. We're back up to 17
So,
people.
so wait a minute. I'm going to go on early and jump on out there as people are building in, and I'm going to throw a shot across the bow. Congressman Mike Johnson, while, look, I may have my opinion of you and Rex may have his and other people may or whatever. Censorship is real. We just had a live show. You may not agree with what we say. You and Seabiscuit, you may not agree with it, but we just had a show and you see the live show. You saw it. You saw censorship in action. I've got the screenshot that Facebook accused us of sexual violence and exploitation. We had almost 140,
Yeah.
140, maybe 150 of your constituents were watching live on this show as Facebook literally was
Pulled the
censoring.
plug. Yeah.
They pulled the plug on, and none of that was true. There was
Yeah.
nothing that we said was any of the things that they accused us of in this reasoning and justification for censorship. Now, Rex, I'm
Yes,
going to
sir.
throw a bone out there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Tommy Chandler or the police jury or one of them sent a complaint in on us right there because
It
they didn't want
is
us talking about
it is highly
the
likely.
one. Some of those people may not have wanted us talking about animal control in Bossier City because it'll give their ass a black eye. Pardon my French.
Right. That is, I hate to say
That's
it, it
the
is highly likely.
that is the only possibility that Facebook could get off the hook, but it doesn't justify Facebook, in my opinion, taking the action without verifying it, right?
Right, right. And to let you know, folks, we are going to get to the main thrust of the content, which is going to be about that animal control here in just a few minutes. But because we've had to restart the show, we're trying to give everybody the chance to see, and because we've restarted it like twice now, we're trying to give everybody the opportunity to see the notifications and
No,
jump back on the show. So make
no.
sure you, I hate to say it, re-tag everybody. We're climbing up in the 80s now. Re-tag everybody and let them know that we're back on. And we will be talking about animal control, and we will be talking about the mayor.
Well, and I'm going to give you another hypothetical. In our notes right here, you guys are looking at it. You see under our show topics in the center between us, we had coined the show originally the Polecats, and then we said we recoined the name of the show, Going to the Dogs. Bossier was going to the dogs because of the events surrounding animal control in Bossier. But I want to jump down. We also pointed out Julianna goes to Washington. And we were going to talk about Washington Mardi Gras and some of the things that went on. And one of the things we were going to show was, you know, I'm going to say it the way I want to say it, the braggadocious way of one police juror named Julianna Parks, chumming up and bragging about with the Speaker of the House and going to the White House, advocating for Bossier.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe they didn't want us talking about that. Maybe that
Well,
was part of it.
and I didn't pull any of the screenshots. Well, I did on that. Let's lead off with that as people are coming back in, because thank goodness, and we appreciate everybody's help in tagging folks. We're back up to around 100 people right now. That is absolutely great. So why don't we go ahead and let's see where I was. We're going to get back to that mayor's poll here in a second, but let's get what's her name out of the way.
Yeah, but
Uh,
but before we go there, share my screen and show everybody. Now that we're back up to about 100 people, I want you guys to see what Facebook said the reason that they cut the show. So if all of y'all were watching and you were live up, from the beginning to the end and you saw, did you see anything that that threatened or promoted sexual violence or exploitation. Did any of y'all see that? Was there
Yeah.
anything of that nature? Because that right there, I screenshotted it before they got rid of it. I screenshotted it and we have it right there. That's what they cited to cut this show off to silence free speech.
Yeah.
That's what they cited. Did any of you see of it? I want to know, did any of you see that? Because I
Yeah.
did I don't think I said anything. I don't
I
think you
don't
said
think
anything
I
there.
did, or don't think I accidentally shared something. I don't know. It's a complete mystery to me. So that leaves it to probably somebody reported it as sexual conduct or sexual, content or whatever
Or
to try to
or
jackal us and knock us offline.
or censorship is real. One of the two.
Well, wait a minute. Now, our good friend Ryan Haygood, you're correct, Ryan. We were talking about Adam Bass, and Ryan says Adam Bass was a teen heartthrob. That
Oh,
could be
good.
that.
Oh, good
That could be
grief.
it. That could
Good
be it.
grief.
Right. Okay.
You, you know, Monica Hudson, I think that is a great idea. I think, since Jeff Landry is a personal friend of mine, and I know that Jeff Landry and the AG of Missouri have a insightful lawsuit that has really shown, the levels of censorship, especially when it pertains to, the COVID issue and all that. I mean, I think you're right. I mean, I think we have video evidence that it continues on, but where is Mike Johnson?
Yeah. Paging Mike Johnson. Hey,
Paging Mike Johnson.
Barry Butler says word porn. So maybe it was some word porn going on. All right. Well, let's move back into the content. So we're going to get back to that survey here in just a second.
Oh, Rex,
What?
we've
What?
had a Mark Smith sighting.
Oh,
To all
wait.
of you that hadn't watched the show before, the
Hey,
infamous Mark Smith has shown up.
Mark, you have to do better. You're literally regurgitating what I've said over and over, and
He,
that
that's why he
is
did
free
it. That's
speech.
why
Yeah,
he did
using
it.
their platform. I'm not going to say it's censoring yet. I'm going to say somebody reported us, which technically wouldn't be censoring because Facebook. I think they should have left it running, had monitors come in and watch the show and see if there really was anything. I would argue that point. But still, I don't say it's censoring because it is their platform. I hate to say it,
No,
but I got to agree with mysterious Mark Smith, or rather, he's agreeing with
but,
me.
but wait a minute. Since Mark Smith is an alias, a known alias on this show, and there's a lot of hypotheticals. Some people have said Mark Smith is a person on the police jury or a member of the courthouse crowd. Some people have
Maybe.
said Mark Smith is a member of the Bossier City crowd.
Yeah,
Um, you know, Mark Smith may have been actually the guy that made a report to try to get this pulled.
may have been. All right. So enough of all that because Facebook has already wasted us 45 minutes of what we could have had for just some great content. Let's
You're
let's
right.
not give Facebook any
Yep.
more credibility than they don't deserve.
I'm going to say the last thing I'm going to say on
All
it. I
right.
encourage everybody to go to YouTube and follow us on YouTube and or Rumble and or Twitter,
Yes.
to watch the show there. In the event Facebook decides they want to, not let you hear the truth again.
Yeah, because I'm looking. I don't think our Twitter feed is working right now, and so if you can see it, fine. If you can't, I apologize. It's kind of new, but you're right, Duke. Our show does post to Rumble about 24 hours later, and again, I'll be posting the audio version of
Okay.
this either later tonight or tomorrow. All right, so
Back
shall
on the
we?
poll. So
Yeah,
everybody was like wondering, we're going to go through this really fast and we're going to get to the dogs.
yeah,
Everybody was wondering about this poll going on in Bossier, right? Everybody's like, who did the poll? Who did the poll? Because they're wanting to know where everybody stood on term limits and they wanted to know favorability on, the mayor's race. And, they gave some names: Adam Bath, Tommy Chandler, Vince Maggio, David Montgomery, Chris Smith, and undecided. That would be interesting to know how that turned out. And then they asked a favorable or unfavorable opinion of Tommy Chandler, David Montgomery, and Chris Smith. And okay, I am remiss. Queen David, And
Yeah, we did rename him or retitle him.
we did. So they wanted to know favorability on those three. Obviously, Queen David and Chris Smith are the at-large councilman. And the mayor. They're the only three that were a citywide elected officials.
Mm-hmm.
So that poll was going on. So the big question was, and all the politicos were all wound up tight about it. Who the heck run this poll? Why would they do that?
Right.
They got their dander all up.
Yeah.
So I got to tell you, I mean, I kind of went to digging a little bit because I wanted to know too. It was intriguing.
Yeah. Who
So if
sent
you,
out the poll?
so JMC, Pinocchio, is that you? I love it, Mark Smith. I don't know if I ever met Mark Smith in real life. I don't know if I'd punch him or I'd shake his hand.
Yeah, might have to buy him a drink anyway.
I probably already done one of the two. But anyway, cut one. The pollster was JMC Analytics.
Oh,
Now,
all right. Let me get that
if
cut over.
if JMC Analytics is the ones doing the poll, well, what political candidate has used JMC in the past?
Yeah, drum roll, please, because I don't think I'm showing it yet, but you can see JMC Analytics right up here at the top, right there. All
They
right,
did show up on one, politicians' campaign finance reports in the
right,
past.
right. So which one would it be? Drum roll, please. Anyone want to guess? Any guesses? Going once, going twice. Are we still on Facebook and still live? Yeah, we're still at 120 people. Hopefully they hadn't cut us off yet.
Yeah. So if you're here about animal control, I promise you this matters. Pay attention. So if you scroll down, Rex, to the bottom, I think it will divulge. Facebook mad at Duke. You're right, David Montgomery. It'll divulge who.
Oh, look,
Yeah, right
down there
there.
in the bottom corner. It's a little fuzzy, but I can kind of point it out. Let me move my little finger pointer thing. It's a little fuzzy. So for those of you that can't see it, especially if you're on mobile, lo and behold, it's Tommy Chandler.
Well, that makes for an amazing question. Why is it that I mean, what does Tommy Chandler need to know about term limits? Why does he need to ask that question?
Well,
I
and
mean, I
not
can.
just that. Question number 3 is, do you have a favorable or unfavorable opinion of Mayor Tommy Chandler?
Well, I get that question too. He wants to know how he looks.
Right.
He wants to know. I get that one, but on term limits, that one I don't understand it. I
Well,
don't get it at all. He ran on term limits and he said, "I support term limits and term limits, you know, prevents, what was his words? I don't want to put words in his mouth, but without term limits,
corruption.
it breeds corruption and all this crap. Remember
Yeah.
all that?
Yeah. We've shown it 2 or 3 times on the show.
Yeah. So, I mean, why does he need a poll to know where he stands on term limits? He campaigned on it, asked you for your vote, you know, because he believed in term limits and he was going to see to it that term limits were put in place in Bossier City. But yet
He
he's putting a
lied.
poll out to
He
to
lied.
ask it.
I mean, I don't even use the stupid thing of he misspoke. He just flat out lied.
Well, I mean, look, we don't 100% know that he did this poll. We don't 100% know that, but it
But we do
stands to
know that he lied
reason.
about term limits.
Well, did he lie about term limits? I mean,
Well,
he
let me
said he was going to
rephrase
do
that.
something, and he's done nothing. He's done nothing. He said he was
And
going to have a
technically,
charter
is that
commission.
doing something? So
He
he
said he was.
lied. Up
He
until
said he
this
was.
point, he has lied.
Well, he said he's going to have a charter commission. He had no charter commission. He
Yeah.
he said Shane Cheatham was his guy, and he's going to stand by him. Well, guess what? He threw him to the wolves, didn't he?
Yeah. Well,
I
yeah.
mean,
That's
there.
the three. He broke up the three amigos. He broke up the band. Okay. So the other questions were number 4. Do you have a favorable or unfavorable opinion of Councilman at Large David Montgomery, Queen David himself, of the Zamboni twins? And do you have a favorable or unfavorable opinion of Councilman at Large Chris Smith Those are peculiar names that were chosen for this poll. Thank you for your
Very,
time. It was done on behalf of JMC Analytics and Polling.
yeah. Well, if it wasn't Tommy Chandler, I got to tell you, all these three people are all kind of looking at each other. You know, they're cutting their eyes at each other. I mean, look, David Montgomery. You know, the rumor mill is that David's not going to run again.
All right.
And but here's the interesting thing: David Montgomery, go look at his campaign finance report. He's got some bank in his checking account.
Oh, no
So
kidding.
if 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 he doesn't run again, where does all that go?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
That money's going to go somewhere.
Gonna go somewhere. That's interesting. Okay. So let's see. Pretty much everybody had sounded off earlier on our first attempt at a show tonight and let us know if you got the poll or not. And we had also had them sound off. What else did? Oh, if they supported term limits. So they already did that. So we got those two goals accomplished. What's next, Mr. Lowry?
Well, I'll
Let me
tell you
put some
what,
more.
we were going to talk about, and we were going to share, like, let's see, I think maybe Cut Two and Washington Mardi Gras and the Swamp. I mean, it was a gay affair in DC, and we were going to show everybody how, you know, those in the loop and the up and coming and all that, and how you unconnected people. I mean, we're going to show you how the
Well, all
connected
right.
people, how they
Yeah.
fly, but I don't
Well,
know if we need to go there.
let's start. We'll do this real quick. We'll spend just a couple of minutes on it. So, this is a post by Julianna Parks, and Julianna went to Washington, and she said she started the week communicating with Bossier City. So, showing the screenshot and her post from her official police juror page regarding the new red light at Swan Lake and Innovation Drive and their traffic engineers' tireless work to get the timing right. In other words, they did have a big traffic jam. That was apparently a problem. And Bossier City recently annexed this section of Swan Lake and added the red light after traffic studies showed it
Oh,
was
wait a
needed.
minute. Wait a
All
minute.
right, all right.
She said Bossier City annexed that. Is she
Yes.
trying to say that that's not her district anymore?
I mean, it's still her district, even if well, yeah, it would still be it would still be her under her police jury district. I mean, she's a police juror for the parish, and some of that obviously involves the city, right?
Okay. Yeah. That's my point. I mean, but is she? She was saying. Remember in our last show we talked about this. She was trying to say that wasn't her district and the problem wasn't hers. But now she's saying it. The city annexed it. Is she trying to say that it's their problem, not hers? And I'm just wondering too. I'm seeing a curious thing here. She's saying she was there representing Bossier Parish, the whole parish. So
Well, all right.
then
So here's
she's having her cake and eating it too.
yeah, pretty much. And look, she's posted before. I don't have the screenshots right now. I'd have to go back and dig them up from the archives. But she's posted before and basically, told people that aren't her direct constituents to F off. I mean, I'm being a little facetious with the comment there, but she has basically alluded to the fact that she represents her constituents, but when it's good for her PR, now she represents everybody and she's really working hard for District 5 and for Bossier Parish to get the support we need for the fastest growing parish north of I-10 to ensure our tax dollars are brought back home for essential infrastructure. Way to go, Julianna.
Okay, y'all got to give me a minute. I got to read this again because I missed the part somewhere in there
All
about
right,
animal control. Did she talk to the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, and Mike Johnson about animal control for Bossier? Because as it stands right now, we're going to let animals run wild in Bossier. There's not going to be any animal control. Hang on a
No,
minute. I
but
got
she
to
went
look.
to the Pentagon. Hold on, in the second paragraph, she says she went to the Pentagon. Maybe she talked to the Pentagon. Maybe she talked to the general about animal control. Maybe she talked to the
Oh,
general of the Air Force about how they handle animal control on
no.
Barksdale.
No, I got it better than that. She went to the White House. I mean, it's in there. She went to the White House and she got with the president, and they're going to use F-16s to take care of the animal control. That's
Oh,
the new plan. That's what they're going to do.
there's your solution to the stray dogs and the stray cats. F-16s.
Julianna's got this.
Or look, we got a
She's
bunch
got
of
it
AT.
covered.
No, Duke. it's much easier than we thought. Like, we're home of the B-52 fleet, basically, right? They have B-52s at the base. They can just carpet bomb Bossier and Benton. And it's mostly you Benton folks that seem to be griping, about the animal situation, and it is a legit problem. So just carpet bomb Benton, or Benton Road anyway.
Buff 454, we've got a group of beagles heading up Airline Drive. Y'all need to take them out.
We hate to laugh, folks, but anyway. Okay.
Good.
So Julianna went to Washington, used her tax dollars. Maybe she went on her own dime, but used her tax dollars to go up there and cavort around with Mike Johnson, and I'm sure that did us a lot of good. That's great.
Oh, yeah, your tax dollars at work. So while we're letting dogs run loose, she's on the parish dime, probably, at a COVID super spreader. You know,
But Duke, we're coming off the COVID stuff in May. May is when Biden and the federal government has said no more COVID pandemic.
but
So
look,
anyway,
she's shilling around. She's shilling around with the Speaker of the House. They're gonna bring home the dollars, baby, to Bossier. That's what it's about. We got to bring home the money. Get that
Greg,
bacon.
Greg Bell says, in all my years flying in the B-52, I never bombed a carpet. Dadgummit, Greg, you're just destroying my vision I had in my head of bombing carpets. Dang.
All right. Well, we had a whole lot more planned for Washington Mardi Gras. Maybe next show, since Facebook decided to throw us a curveball, maybe next show we'll come back and we'll clean all that up and finish our dialogue on that. But
Yeah. Let me throw up these little deals real quick. We'll get it over with. So there's let's see. Oh, is that Allie?
there's
That's your
our
favorite person, Allie.
that's our good friend Queen Cockroach, Allie Feaster Smith, who
Yeah.
successfully used the House of Representative District 8 legislative assistant seat to propel herself, as well as the Republican State Central Committee seat, to make money. So
Right.
all you Republicans that on board with her to put her in the State Central Committee seat, congratulations to y'all. You are putting money in her bank account. Did you know, Rex? Did you know Tommy Chandler? He has the big golf tournament, right?
Yeah. Right.
Do you want to know how much money she made off of that one day event for Tommy Chandler?
That she made, like her little consulting deal or
She,
whatever.
yes,
How
yes.
much? Now I'm
Like
intrigued.
10, guys, she made like $10,700. You damn right. She's
What?
smiling. Look at her. How much you think she's making right there? She got Kevin McCarthy standing over her shoulder.
I
And if you
definitely
zoom,
was not charging enough when I was in the business of doing that. I wasn't charging enough, Duke.
so while all of us are worried about dogs, getting care on the streets or what have you, I mean, the people that are supposed to be taking care of our problems, they're counting their dollars. They ain't worried about
Wow.
the dogs. They're counting their dollars,
Hey,
looking to their next step.
but I will say this. Let's see. Who is she with in that left picture over there? Is that Kevin McCarthy? And is that our good friend
It
Clay
I hate
Higgins?
to I hate to say it. I love me some Clay
Yeah.
Higgins, and I don't know how that happened, but she's got her hooks into Clay Higgins, and if you zoom in on that picture, Rex, she calls him the boss.
Oh. Hey, message to Clay. Message to Clay. In case you're watching the show, be careful.
She says amazing fundraiser for the boss.
Oh. Yeah. Well. Huh. Hmm. That's okay.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Maybe she's talking about
Whatever.
Speaker McCarthy. Maybe she's already done got to that point.
Yeah. Well. I have so many comments, but we have so little time.
So little time.
Yes. Okay. Moving on up.
Well, real
Let's
quick,
let's
a lot of people. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the Cypress revelations we may put off until Tuesday night, which will be the next show, folks. Tuesday nights, our normal time is Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Yeah. So a lot of people, Rex, they want a little update on the term limits effort. A lot
Right.
of you may or may not know that there's a little bit of business going on in Bossier. There is kind of an effort to get term limits put in place for the Bossier City Council, the Bossier City Mayor, and for the police jury. And what I will tell you is that that effort is going to be kicking off. It hadn't officially started yet, but it's going to be kicking off very soon, like probably within a week.
Hmm.
And I can tell you, Rex, and guys, and for a lot of you watching the show, aside from Bossier Watch, I am personally involved in that effort. And what I can tell you is that we are looking for volunteers to help in the effort to collect signatures. And what I would say is that if you want to volunteer, you're interested, and you believe that term limits should be in effect for, you know, your Bossier City elected officials as well as your Bossier Parish elected officials, hit me up on Facebook, message me. You can look me up, Michael Duke Lowry, and I will message you back on what to do if you want to volunteer and you want to help collect signatures. We're going to need some help.
Yeah.
We've got a very organized effort to do that, and we need all the help we can get.
Yeah, and it is a separate group and deal from Bossier Watch. Although we may share some of the information on the Bossier Watch Facebook page and all that, and of course we'll talk about it from time to time. But just understand that it is a separate entity. Okay, so signatures coming up. We will need them in the future. We will let everybody know. Um, hmm. Shall we get to the animal control problem?
I think it's time. I think that is probably where the majority of folks watching tonight want to go. And I got to tell you, Rex, when I woke up this morning, animal control and what happens to dogs and cats, in our community in Bossier, that was not on my agenda. That was not what I thought I was going to, my day was going. I thought I was going to be turning wrenches on a Peterbilt today. I thought that, I was going to be doing something else. I was worrying about my first cup of coffee. It was not animal control.
Yeah.
But
But apparently, the animals and the politicians and the folks who have an issue with this had a little different plan for both. Well, I did run around and fix a few computers and all that, but did spend the better part of the afternoon getting screenshots ready and trying to let us have a smooth show, and that didn't work out quite so well. But yeah, I mean, this is a real problem in animal control. I didn't realize it was as big of an issue as it is apparently, and so honestly, on this issue, I'm getting educated on it as we go. Like I didn't realize it was so out of control. I mean, we've talked about it before with the Red Rover situation. That was kind of related to it. Um, but we haven't really dove into the animal control situation. So maybe give us a little, B-52 flyover view of what is the problem. I mean, what's going on?
okay. So as it would turn out, again, I don't know. Lots of folks, you start your day. You may have your cup of coffee or your cup of orange juice, and you're getting going, trying to get into the mood. You're going to go to work and have a good day, and you may peruse around quickly, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, see what's happening. And my day started off with my, you know, my wife, who I love, and of course my big old Chesapeake Bay Retriever licking me to tell me it's time for you to get up and have your coffee. But my
Mm-hmm.
wife bringing the coffee, and then my Chesapeake licking me summarily the same. Anyway, so and she says, "Hey, have you seen Bentontown happenings?" I said, "Well, no." And so she shows me this post, and she shows me about this lady who says that her services were no longer required. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of, huh. So, as it would turn out, I kind of dug into, after I got my head straight, I dug into it a little bit more. And as it would turn out, on social media for about a week now, there's been this thing swirling about animal control. And it's obviously the lead story of what's going on in Bossier. right?
Yeah, so let me share that screenshot here in just a second. Let's see. Give me 1 second here. The lady's name, now make sure I'm sharing the right one, will be Judy Stewart. Is that the one that you're referring to?
Ooh, you're killing me there. But yes, Judy is actually who we're talking to. Kara showed me this, and I'm like, well, that is intriguing. So, you know, as a result of seeing that, kind of started doing a little bit of poking around, wanted to find out what's going on here. What's this about? And, you know, to summarize this whole big enchilada real quick, the best I can tell is that these problems they've been brewing for some time, and I'm gonna jump out there and say it's due to a lack of funding, a lack of unwillingness on the part of elected officials and governing bodies, to deal with a problem. That
Well,
is the
I
big
mean,
picture thing.
I, I don't even know where to begin on this. So, and folks, feel free to chime in the comments too to help educate me on this. I mean, what is the problem? Is the problem that we have a lot of dogs and cats running around neighborhoods? Is the problem? I mean, what specifically is the problem? I've not noticed, at least around my neighborhoods and a lot of the neighborhoods I visit as I go around fixing computers and all that sort of thing. I've not noticed, a huge, uh, let's just say, wild dog or dogs running around or cats running around that seems to be an issue. But that's only my anecdotal evidence. Is this a real problem out there?
Oh, just hold on, Dano. The problem's fixing to get a whole lot worse because, as it would turn out, this thing is just on the front end here of happening. Now, yes, this has been a problem that has been going on. Look, Rex, I'm going to say, and you watching, a lot of you already know this. This is a problem that's been going on for almost a century.
What? I mean,
Well, oh wait a minute. Oh, I'm from Halton now,
okay.
I gotta do some basic stuff here. A century, that is 10 years, right?
Century? No, that'd be a
Yeah.
100. Decade.
Okay. Wait a minute. A decade. Then see, there's
Close
I'm from
enough.
Halton.
Decade,
I mean we're
century, whatever. Maybe it's been
fishing.
going on for a
It's
century.
like fishing. It's like fishing. They have a limit on the number of brim and bass you can catch.
Right. Yeah. Close
Okay.
enough.
Now, why would some jackwagon want to call me in the middle of a show and
Is it somebody that knows we're live right now?
yeah, he knows. He
Huh, you
definitely
should
knows.
you
He
should
comes on the
call.
show and he
Yeah,
comments.
yeah. You should call this person out. Put them live. Oh,
If he
put them on
doesn't,
speakerphone.
well, he may be. So if he starts talking, I mean, good grief.
All right. Okay. Back
So
back to the topic at hand.
this thing has been brewing for, a decade, right?
Mm-hmm.
Century, decade, however long. It's forever. In fact, KTBS has done Mark Smith. KTBS has done some stories in the past on this subject matter, and this problem has been a problem that has plagued Bossier City forever. But interestingly, is how the problem was dealt with now and currently and today, and that is kind of where we're going. So, Rex, this thing kind of got kicked off this week, and not by uh, or last week. This thing got kicked off not by the normal people that you would suspect or think. Actually, it got kicked off by some professional people in this parish.
Really? So they kicked off the problem or they just made it worse.
No, they put a Q beam. They put a Q beam on the problem, and what I'll say is, and I put in the notes, and I'm just going to say it the way I put it in the notes here. You know, I I wrote this is the way I wrote it. You know, sources tell us, but because they are, we had some people
Right.
that we started
Sure.
digging around, and we had some information sent to us. That some local veterinarians from Benton, and I'm going to say Benton Animal Hospital, that they weighed in on this problem. They took a position. to their credit, Benton Animal Hospital took a proactive approach to this and has been for some time. You'll learn here in a minute because we're going to show you where Benton Animal Hospital was uh, caring about animals and trying to do what was in the best interest of animals in this parish. But they shut off some emails and some communications, and I think that is what finally was the straw that broke the camel's back. Um,
Well, all right. So yeah, and let me know when you're ready to show all that, and I'll cue it up because I'm kind of paying attention to the comments and the notes right now. But I went back to show 133, so that would, about nearly 10 shows ago, it'd be about 10 weeks ago or whatever. And we mentioned that there was an issue because somebody had sent us some anonymous information that Butch. I'm trying to review the notes and go back and jog my
oh,
memory a little bit.
Butch the Hatchet Man Ford.
Yes, it was back on show 133 when we initially mentioned, because of information that was sent to us, and kind of asked about Butch's. What was it? Did he? And folks, y'all help me out here in the comments. Did he cut funding, or what was it that Butch did as far as the police jury is concerned and the parish is concerned? As far as animal control goes, there was something. I'm trying to scan through the notes real quick and see if I can pick it up.
Yeah, we had started getting something a while back, but we didn't chase it. Maybe because we were chasing the debacle, and maybe I shouldn't say debacle, at the library, and a lot of
Right.
you may
Yeah.
not recall, but the library board, essentially all the folks there got ousted by the police jury, and they started replacing all of them with police jurors with the library board. And Butch Ford was the lead on ousting all of those folks. And
Okay, and we did report that on the show, but here it is in the notes. Okay, it was something to do with. Let's see. I'm just reading straight off our notes here. It is reported that they charged $75 per dog to kill at Bossier Animal Control. There were 100 dogs rehomed in the past year. It cost the parish nothing with the volunteer groups, and the parish engineer is good friends, Butch Ford, with the Bossier City Shelter. So that's from the notes. We talked about it in that show, and so that's
how long
the
ago was that show again?
about 10 shows ago. Show 133. We're on 141 tonight.
Yeah. So fast forward to now, and you had some veterinarians, in the parish, and to their credit, Benton Animal Hospital, hat tip to them. They care about animals. Obviously, they wouldn't be in the field of veterinarians, but they stepped up to the plate and they said, "Hey, we have a problem. There is a problem in Bossier regarding all of this." And they didn't just step up. They didn't just make a statement and then let it go. They went all the way with it. And look, we've had it sent to us. I mean, they sent emails, they put it in writing. And Rex, I'm just going to say, let's go ahead and go to cut 42.
Okay.
And this is what kind of got things going, guys.
All right, let me get that one pulled up. Let me switch screens over here. Bear with me just a second. Let me get that out of the way and put this one over there and resize it down a little bit. Okay, yeah, here we go. And for those of you listening on the podcast, we got an email. Was sent to us, like Duke said, from a source. And this is an email, correct me if I'm wrong, from Benton Animal Hospital to, was it the mayor or who was it to?
Well, this particular email was sent to all of the council in
Okay.
Bossier regarding the problem. And I'll start off reading, Rex, and I'll stop, and then you can pick up where I leave off because it's kind of long. But guys, I want you to follow it as we get through this, and then we're going to show you there were also attachments with this. And
Right.
there's a whole story, and this will come full circle with Miss Judy, and summarily her being let go, and where Tommy Chandler plays into this. So, attached is a photo of page 3 of Bossier City Animal Control Policies and Procedures. I have been informed by clients and local rescues that oftentimes When a stray is found and animal control is contacted, people are being told the facility is full and they can either keep the animal, call a vet, or turn them loose to find their way home. Turn them loose. So you're going to just turn the strays loose all over the parish. According to the policies and procedures, it does not appear that is how our city intended strays to be handled. There are multiple potential issues with handling strays in this way. Strays are unvaccinated and could potentially spread zoonotic diseases. If the animal does have an owner or some form of permanent identification, we won't know because they are not being checked. If the animal does have a home and an owner that is looking for them, they may never be found if somebody keeps them or they are injured or killed trying to find their way home. Stray animals could potentially cause harm, injuring by biting, attacking a leash dog, being walked, or by getting in the road or causing an accident. Many of the strays are unhealthy, malnourished, hit by cars, shot by people, or have diseases such as cancer, for example, that go untreated. Go ahead, Rex.
All right, so I'll pick up there. The situation with the strays has been happening for at least a year. I first contacted Animal Control to voice concerns about 8 months ago. I was told at that time the Animal Control was undergoing a leadership change and that the issues were expected to improve. I continued receiving phone calls from citizens of Bossier indicating that they were still being told the Animal Control was full. November the 11th, I contacted Sherry Wood, the director of Animal Control, and was referred to Wade Rich, the Public Works director. Let's see. Let me make sure. Okay. A meeting with Mrs. Wood and Mr. Rich was suggested and scheduled. The meeting was very informative, but not very productive to solving the issues with the strays. I emailed after the meeting thanking them for their time and to inform them that I still had concerns and intended to continue to make others aware of the situation. I emailed Mr. David Montgomery Jr. and left a voicemail for Mr. Jeff Free on December the 6th of 2022. I received no response from either, and on December the 11th of 2022, I happened to see Mr. Free while I was walking my dog, ironically, and he brought up the voicemail and we spoke briefly about the concern. To his credit, this is me ad-libbing, to his credit, at least he remembered the voicemail. Continuing, I told him I had contacted Mr. Montgomery via email, so he was aware of the issue. He indicated that he would reach back out to me after he inquired about the situation. I didn't hear anything, so I left another voicemail for Mr. Free on January the 2nd of 2023, asking if he needed more info because we only spoke briefly about the issue on December the 11th. I still had not been contacted by either council member as of January the 16th of this year, so I sent another email to Mr. Montgomery and left another voicemail for Mr. Free indicating another email had been sent to Montgomery describing the issue in more detail. I also asked if I could be contacted and informed of any developments with the stray dog situation. To date, I have yet to be contacted by either council member about the situation. Attached are some recent pictures of stray animals from our area. And side note, I'm going to wait to post those pictures until we're ready. Okay, so that's the email. Pretty detailed email, specific dates and times, and the information that was sent, and apparently not responded to.
Okay, now I want to point out something, Rex. Everybody in the comments is blowing us up that we made a mistake.
Right.
Thank you guys for correcting us. We were told that it was Benton Animal Hospital, and it actually is Bossier Animal Hospital. I mean, overwhelmingly, there are countless people saying, "Are you sure it's not Bossier Animal Hospital?" I mean, we get a lot of information.
We want to give credit where credit's due. So absolutely.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, it did strike me odd that it would have been Benton Animal Hospital, but you know what? I had to go with what was sent to us. And, is it the possibility that this email and this content is not accurate? That I guess that's possible. Um, obviously, by the comments I'm seeing, I mean, there's a lot of people that know about this, apparently. I mean, because if they know that it's Bossier Animal Hospital and not Benton, I mean, yeah, from the doctors, I mean, I guess common sense would tell you that, okay, this is one Bossier Animal Hospital and not Benton. But I would think that a lot of people know about the subject matter, apparently.
Yeah, they. It seems so. And one other thing to add in is that a lot of the stuff that we get for the show, we're literally getting it minutes before the show before we go live, and so
Yeah,
we do our best to vet it out as much as we can. But every now and then we'll make a mistake, so we want to correct the mistakes when we do make them.
yeah. So Bossier Animal Hospital deserves all the credit on this, and hat tip to them. Um, okay, Benton, thank y'all for being, veterinarians and the like.
Right.
But Bossier, thank you. So with that said, within this, the fact that Queen David and Councilman Jeff Free, I mean, it seems like there was a lot of communication here. I mean, this has
Yeah.
been going on for some time. What's the problem here? Why has this problem not been addressed? Why? Where were they?
Well, and I don't even know where to start with this. And again, I'm coming into this brand new. I literally had no idea that this was such a huge problem in the area. But it just seems odd to me. I mean, you would think that they would respond back to this just to get them off their back.
Nina Lopez says all vet clinics and rescue organizations are dealing with the issues at BCAS.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, let me find that. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, all vet clinics. Okay.
More, Megan
All right.
Everett
So,
says all of that content is accurate. They have all been working with the rescues, taking the dogs.
all right. So, and Duke, you may know more about this, having dug into this a little more in detail than I did this afternoon. Or, folks, y'all let me know in the comments. Now, I'm a little bit confused. Are we talking about animal control in Benton, which is kind of where this originated with the Facebook posts, and the police jury and issues there? Or are we talking about the city and Bossier City Animal Control and problems there? How does it all tie together? I mean, what is this relationship, or is the issue just all over everywhere
Well,
in Bossier Parish and the city? How
well,
does
an
this
interesting,
work?
well, an interesting thing. A lot of folks were kind of asking. Some people were saying, "Well, this sounds like a parish issue," and then some people were saying, "No, this is a Bossier City issue," and then some people were saying, "No, that's not right. It's both of them. It's both of their issues." Well, apparently, that's correct. It is both of them, and it's a combined thing. And that gets into this lady, who was let go from her job in Benton. That originally kind of we this post was shown. This Miss Judy, and you know that it goes back to 2011. You know, KTBS. There was some
2011. Oh,
history, and
yeah.
there was some, yeah. There was some history. We're gonna get to that, and I'm jumping way ahead here. So
Yeah,
this
way
is
ahead.
long and drawn out, and I know you guys are fired
Let
up
me,
about this, but before Rex, before we move to that,
right,
there was attachments to this email. This wasn't the only part of this email right here. In fact, there
right.
were attachments, and I'm gonna say to a lot of you guys, I mean, look, this isn't like, I mean, this isn't like gory content. It
Gore,
didn't.
no.
I
But it's hard.
say Facebook's done shut our show down one time tonight. I mean, good
Yeah.
grief. Who knows? They may coin
Well,
this as being
all
sexual
right.
something to shut us down.
So let me put this comment up here from Courtney Wingate. She says, local rescue director here. Yes, we can't legally take in strays without them going through stray hold first. But Bossier won't take them. So we can't legally take them because if we do take them, we can be sued if an owner comes forward. Well, this sounds like a mess, like a bureaucratic mess.
Well, I would ask Courtney. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't know Courtney. I'm not going to put her in a position. But with the other attachments to this email, and again, hat tip to Bossier Animal Hospital. You guys, I mean, you're the bomb. I
Yeah. All
mean,
right.
thank you for stepping up in our community. And the rest of these images may not be, some of this content may not be palatable to you guys, but this was part of this that went to all the council in Bossier.
Yeah. Here we go. All right. So there's the first image, and here, listen. Wow. There's a second image, and third image. Now that's the Facebook post. So, and that says, for those of you that are listening or can't read it if you're on mobile, Bossier City Animal Control would not take these guys in because they were so full, or they were full. So they were brought to Caddo Parish Animal Services, where they could not be brought in because they didn't live in that area. It's super frustrating, but it is what it is. The owner was highly upset that they used the bathroom in his car. Wanted nothing more to do with them, so I came and got them. These two girls are matted, scared, and don't have good weight on them. We got them to our vet where they sedated and shaved one. She's really skinny and heartworm positive. The other will be evaluated tomorrow. Anything helps. So we're appreciative of those that support us. And of course, there's the pictures of the dogs, in the cages or whatever in the car. And they're all matted and all that. Again, for those of you that are listening.
And I think there's one more image.
Yeah, is that the German Shepherd?
Yep.
Yeah. So let's put the German Shepherd in. There's that just tears me up right there.
So guys in Bossier, all of these animals, you know what? I'm gonna fast forward through the rest of the show in which we have a whole lot more content, and we're going to give you the political angle on all of this and where Tahoe Tommy and Butch the Hatchet Man Ford stand on this. But you know what their solution, fast forward is? Just we ain't gonna take them. Just let them out on the street. Bossier, let them run wild or let them hobble wild. That's the solution they have.
I mean, that's no solution at all. I mean, like I
It's
said,
it's way it's way worse than that, and we have more email content to support the charges that we're making right now, Rex. We have more
yes,
email content that we're going to show you guys
right.
that that has come of this after we went to digging. So go ahead.
All right. Let me switch screens for a little bit. Let me get us back over here to us for a few minutes. So, again, I'm really at a loss for words at the moment. So, I, let me pitch this out there, and then let's tie in the political side. What is the solution to all this?
Well, I mean,
Has anybody considered that? What do you folks in the comments think? What is the solution, or what do we need to do to improve animal welfare in the city and these strays? And unfortunately, first thing is we need to obviously try to educate people that they don't need to dump dogs or animals or cats, whatever. And we need to do that. But we all know that no matter how much educating you do, it's not going to stop. Some people are going to do that. What is the solution to all this?
Well, Rex, I can tell you that my opinion is that Tahoe Tommy and Butch the Hatchet Man Ford, they came up with a solution. And you know what their solution was? Their
What's that?
solution was that we're going to silence those who advocate, for the animals, and we're going to try to censor the information. Interestingly, our show got censored tonight.
Hmm.
And this was a subject that we were going to highlight. Isn't that interesting?
Kind of coincidental. I'm no
It,
conspiracy theorist, but I might have a tinfoil hat sitting over here on the desk before long.
so the question becomes, so how did they do that? Well, how they did that, or how they needed to do that, was that they needed to cut off the flow of information. The flow of information of what was going on within Bossier Parish Animal Control and Bossier City Animal Control. They had to cut off the information.
Hey, wait a minute. I want to take a little side trip here. Monica Hudson has a good idea. She says, I think we should capture them and take them to Butch Ford.
Well,
You'd have to
that
take them over to Cattle Parish, but that's a whole other story.
so so Rex, this is where this story leads us back to, as we mentioned earlier, a lady by the name of Judy Stewart. I've never had the pleasure of meeting this lady. I don't know her. But this lady, my understanding is that she worked for Bossier City Animal Control for almost 13 years, and she left there upon, get this, the new administration coming in and appointing a new supervisor in Bossier City under the Chandler administration, and she went to work for the parish.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the new supervisor, from what I'm told, and one of the reasons she left and went to, the parish, was because the new supervisor in Bossier City, Tommy Chandler's person, whoever that is, their ideal was that they wanted to see more, you know, euthanizations. They wanted to kill more dogs. They wanted to put them to sleep than they wanted to have adoptions and rescues. They didn't want to
I,
see any of that happening.
so let's pause right there for a second. And I want to play devil's advocate. And I mean this with all sincerity, even though it's going to sound kind of cruel. And so I would like to see some comments because, we've got lots of people that are involved with shelters and adopting dogs and all that kind of thing. So how long does it usually take for when strays come in to get them adopted out? And I don't know what the correct term here is, but what is the rate, that dogs just sit there in these shelters? Would it, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, so don't everybody go crazy in the comments. Would it be maybe more humane if the euthanasia rate was increased? I mean, obviously within rules and guidelines. But I mean, I'm trying to get a handle on how all this works. As I've been into a dog shelter before, but I've literally never dealt with this.
Well, Rex, it depends on what your motivation is. If your motivation is money,
Mm-hmm.
or your motivation is quote unquote man's best friend,
Mm-hmm.
or are we wanting to save animals, or do we love animals? We do. I mean, look, I love my dog, but and there's another part of this story when we get down into it. Do you know if my dog Bo? I mean, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
you that watch
Right.
our show, you've heard my dog Bo bark. If my dog Bo got out and was picked up, and say for instance, he made it into the parish shelter or the
Mm-hmm.
animal control, and they ended up sending him off to Bossier, and I have this in the notes later to cover, but do you realize that within 3 days they can euthanize him?
3 days.
3 days,
I mean,
Rex.
he's not vicious, growling, trying to attack everybody
No.
that comes anywhere
This,
near him.
this is
I,
like one of my kids, and within 3 days, they have the right to put him down, which presents a problem. If you have a government agency that places a priority on euthanizing animals before trying to some other path for the animal, I mean, that's a problem. I can tell you, if Tommy Chandler was to put my dog down in 3 days, I'm probably going to be in Benton with Skylar Marvin prosecuting me. That's
well,
what's going to happen.
and especially if you're searching for your dog, But let me ask, all right. So, and we're getting tons of comments that are just piling in. So, folks, I'm trying to keep up with them. Interesting quote from future Mayor Jeremy Gallman down there in Sobo. He says everyone with a pet should have to have a permit on them. Now, you mean Jeremy clarifying
I
that?
don't agree. I don't
Yeah,
agree with that,
clarify in the
Jeremy
comments.
Gallman.
Are you saying everybody should have to buy a permit, or what? Clarify in the comments because we may have a little discussion about that. All right, but
Okay,
there's
so
tons of
let's
other
get
comments coming in.
yeah, we got to get back on topic here. So Miss
Right.
Judy worked for Bossier. She was offered a job to come to the parish to continue her efforts, in adoption and rehoming. Um, Mark Smith. Adios, Mark Smith. Take your
Scro-
fly
scroll
with you.
on by. Okay.
Yep.
Anyway, keep going, Duke. Sorry, I couldn't resist
All
that.
right. So Miss Judy ends up going to the parish, right?
Right.
She goes up there because she was told that she could rehome dogs, adopt and rescue dogs. all that. She was given, carte blanche to go and do all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently that come to a screeching halt as of, and I think we have a Facebook post or a cut of that.
Yeah. Let me. Which one is that? Is that from Judy? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the one that I showed a little early a few minutes ago. So
yeah.
give me a second. I'll pull that back up.
Well, so she was summarily called in and told that her services were no longer needed, and I'm going to jump out on a limb and say that's because it was determined that that was going to be a way to solve the problem of this negative PR with the animal control that's going on between Bossier and Bossier Parish, Bossier City and Bossier Parish.
Now, and forgive me because I was kind of listening while I was reading comments and all that. So she was working at the animal control, and they basically fired her.
Well, she says they told her that they didn't fire her. That wasn't the deal, that they were just basically not doing animal control anymore, which goes back to what the vets at Bossier were saying, which confirmed that. But they took a step to let this lady go. And, you got to kind of dig into that and peel that onion back a little bit more because there's a whole lot more there. There's so much more to this. I had no
Yeah,
idea. Again, when I woke up this morning, animal control was not what I thought I was going to be talking about.
yeah.
And
I'm trying to follow the bouncing ball here, and so this is to be
so,
clear. It's in the post here, but this is on the Bossier Parish animal control side. But
correct.
okay.
So I'm scratching my head and I'm wondering, cut 41, I'm wondering what the heck's going on. And so I'm thinking, I know there's this connection between Bossier City and the parish. So I send an email to Chris Smith. I know already that I can't send an email to the city attorney or to the mayor of Bossier City. I mean, if I sent that, they may respond to me next week. And then if I just asked a simple question, they would say, well, you need to submit it in the form of a public information request. And then even if I did that, I might get they would say, oh, well, 30 or 60 days from now, you may get a response. So if you want to get information out of the mayor's office and you're wanting to get information out of the city attorney with a public information request, you know what? You're not going to get it. They're going to dodge you and they're not going to be straight shooters with you. That's the bottom line. And that's just the way it is. So I took a different approach. I sent an email to Councilman at Large Chris Smith, and I got a really interesting reply.
Okay, so give me a second here. I'm going to try to make this bigger. This is not working out exactly how I had planned before the show, so bear with me for about 20 seconds here and let me get this screen pulled up right here because I can make this bigger and hopefully where people can actually read this. 1 second. Almost there. Bam. Okay. So this is the email. This is the one that you sent from Bossier Watch to Councilman Chris Smith, correct?
Correct. And I said, please find a Facebook post below regarding animal control. Can you give any background to what is happening regarding animal control? Our viewers are asking us, to dig into this. And I sent him a link and he responded back and he says, Mr. Lowry, if you're making a public records request for information, I would have to direct you to the mayor's office and the city attorney. I have seen the social media posts that you're referencing in your email. I was made aware of some concerns citizens had this last week, and forwarded that information to the public works director and mayor. The mayor has told me that the issues referenced here are known and being addressed. You will need to reach out to his office and to get specifics and make a formal request. I have included the emails between the mayor and I last week so you can know that it is being addressed. I have copied Mayor Chandler on this email as he wants to be contacted directly for any issues or complaints with city departments and or employees, and I would advise you to reach out to his office.
Well,
Well,
there you go.
yeah.
Bypass
So
everybody and go straight to Tommy.
that's right. Well, keep scrolling down because the interesting thing is I want to see
Oh,
those emails that he's talking about.
yeah. So
So
let's,
scroll down a little. Yeah,
yeah,
right
let's
there.
start. We'll start there and then roll up because it's email thread.
Now,
So
now
go ahead.
here's an interesting point. We gotta, and pip folks, you gotta pay attention. You gotta follow close here because I read into this Rex this afternoon. Scroll up just a little bit because we need to see the date.
Okay. The date
And
is
folks,
January 26th,
so
2023. Okay.
now remember, y'all remember Miss Judy on January the 30th was let go of her job. On
Mm.
January the 26th, Chris Smith, Councilman at Large Chris Smith, sends an email to the director in Bossier who's over animal control, Wade Rich. And he says, Wade, see the email below. I have recently also gotten a lot of phone calls about parish animals being sent to BCAC and not allowing volunteers to take pictures to hopefully have them picked up by an adoption agency. I am unsure if those complaints are accurate, but I have been fielding calls for almost 2 weeks about that issue and other overall issues. As I am sure you are aware, the animal activist groups are very passionate. I am opening to meeting to discuss the matter in more detail so I can better understand and seeing what resolution can be had to hopefully make all parties happy. Now, now, you saw the vet send an email out and had dialogue with Councilman at Large Queen David
Mm-hmm.
and City Councilman Jeff Free.
And
You
that was
saw that,
earlier. That was in December and then earlier in January. So follow the
and
timeline, folks.
they did nothing. They didn't do
Nothing.
anything. Councilman Smith, to his credit, right here, immediately upon getting this information sent to him, he immediately is engaging with the person over, you know, animal control in Bossier City.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the response that Councilman Smith gets, Rex? You
Well,
go ahead and read it for everybody. What do y'all think?
I'll try. I can't even read this in my best Tommy voice because I just can't butcher this like Tommy can. But here we go. Councilman Smith, thank you for your concern for our city. In the future, please contact me directly regarding any concerns that you may have with city departments. All right, I got to read it. Or employees. I am aware of the concerns mentioned below, and they have been addressed. If you would like to schedule a meeting, I will be happy to answer any questions that you have. I know Tommy didn't type that email. No way.
Okay, so Tommy the Tahoe Chandler just said that all of the problems have been fixed. So for the, almost, or no, it's over 200 people that are watching this live show. I mean, you guys know better than us. Has the problems been addressed? The mayor of Bossier City is saying the problems have been addressed, and also what he's doing here is he's throwing a threat to Councilman Smith because the city charter says that the councilman can't engage department heads directly. And he's got a point. He's right. The order of business is that they should go through the mayor's office. I don't have a problem with that, but he's basically Councilman Smith is calling out the problem, and the mayor is basically putting his thumb and calling out the city charter on Councilman Smith, saying, you don't call the department heads about a problem, you call me directly. And the mayor is saying the problem is handled here. Is the problem being handled?
Well, I would
You're the
say that the folks watching need to reach out to Tommy.
and
Period.
you saw from the vets, they had been reaching out for months to, you know, Queen David and to, Councilman Free, and it's not. They've been there for over I mean, I think 20 something, 30 years, again, started this show, or we talked about term limits. The guy that hadn't even been there a term is trying to address the problem, and he's being choked down by a mayor that
And the good old boy
arguably
system.
doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, this is the good old boy system. This is how it works right here. You're seeing it.
All right. So, how does I'm going to probably
So,
change or force gear changes? Well, finish your thought, and then I've got a question.
well, so what I'm going to say is that, obviously daylight in Bossier City is in short supply, and it's in a lot of short supply. I mean, when we file public information requests, we don't get acknowledged, or there is a delay in weeks. I mean, they do everything that they can to not try to show, be transparent. It's just the way Bossier City works. And so,
All right.
with that said, I think probably the best thing at this point is for us to start working towards our guest. And
Yeah,
go ahead
I
and give
think
me
you're
a
right.
little time.
Okay, so while we're getting that, getting our guest queued up, I'm going to read Courtney Wingate's comment. And folks, we appreciate all the comments. These are some great comments. I'm trying to get to, at least most of them if I can. But Courtney says, here's the problem. For instance, Duke, if you live in Benton and your dog goes missing, your dog legally needs to go to animal control. That's where you would look, right? Well, they won't take him. So the person that found your dog is told to let your dog go or find it a home. Your dog is rehomed or let loose in an unknown area of town. Then the dog then wanders the streets and hopefully is found or has a fast death rather than starving and lost, dying a slow, painful death. This is just ridiculous. Okay, here's our guest.
So the people of Bossier, is that really what we want? I got to know. Would
Okay.
you rather? Okay, and to our guest, Brandy, hang on just a moment. I want to make this point, Rex.
Okay.
Or do y'all find us controlling, you know, wild animals or strays running wild, getting hit by cars, and just it's the Wild West in Bossier City, or do you value having a statue of Walter O. Bigby? You know,
I hate to laugh, but that you
I
you
mean,
hit the nail on the head.
do you value having a statue? Is that more important, or taking care of, wild animals that potentially going to be being hit by cars? You saw the pictures earlier, and
Three
emaciated
hundred.
dog.
Let me remind you, folks, $300,000 on a stupid statue of Walter Bigby. 300,000. Just think of what that could do to help the animal control situation. All right.
So I shamefully I will apologize up front to our guest that we are putting her in a box and bringing her into a we get passionate about issues, and again, I admit I didn't wake up this morning and animal control was not an issue that I thought I would be talking about at the end of this day, but here I am. And um, Brandy, hat tip to you. And I apologize putting you in this position, but you've got some history and background here, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Is it Cordell or Cornell?
It's Cornell.
Okay. I saw that, and I did a little history on you, kind of looking back on you, and this isn't your first rodeo in dealing with animal control issues, is it?
No, it is not, sir.
I got you. I got you. So years ago, and before we kind of get into the modern day stuff, this isn't the first rodeo for Bossier City as it pertains to animal control, because kind of how I learned about you was, going back through time, all the way back to 2011, I saw some KTBS articles that Bossier City had problems in the past. Is that accurate or inaccurate?
That's accurate.
What
So,
in your words,
yeah.
what were those problems?
At that time, I felt like the problems were dogs and cats were being inhumanely euthanized.
In what type of manner? I mean, because again, this is Rex, and welcome to the show. I'm kind of new into all this. So maybe walk us through, if you know, what the typical humane way is, and then what you maybe witnessed as what you consider as inhumane.
The way they euthanized the dogs and cats they just were not doing it properly. They were doing it in a harsh way and an inhumane way, which was painful for the animals.
Okay, and that's fair enough. I mean, so I was reading through the article, and basically, correct me if I'm wrong. The way it's typically done is there's an injection made that minimizes or eliminates the pain that the dog, or I guess cat or whatever, would feel. And if that doesn't go ahead and expire the dog, so to speak, then there's a second injection or procedure or whatever is done. And then hopefully the animal passes with that and doesn't feel any pain. Is that the way it should work?
Yes, the animals should be humanely euthanized without feeling any pain. And at that time, that was not happening all the time.
And so did you report this, to higher ups, or and take us back in time a little bit, how did it get to the news media?
It went from, yes, I reported it to the next step up. At the time, it was Dell was the next one up. And me and another volunteer went and talked to him. And he kind of felt like he knew what was going on, but he said he would take care of the issue at the time, and he did not. So we just had to keep going further up until the news contacted me, because somebody contacted them, and that's how it started with the news.
Okay.
Gotcha. So
we did, we did go through it privately, tried to go up the chain, and it didn't work. So somebody contacted the news.
Okay.
So, and actually there were two separate things. One, there was a lady, and I'm wondering if there's a Lopez commenting on our show live tonight, but there was an individual that they shut down from trying to promote adoptions and rehoming even back then. That was a volunteer, and they shut that down back then to the I'm assuming, I can't remember the date, but 2011, 2018, somewhere in that time frame, as well as the issue of how they were performing euthanizations. So there were actually a couple of problems back then. And I think the former Mayor Walker was quoted as saying they were going to take a stab at it back then. And I found those to not be inspiring words considering the subject matter, but is that accurate?
That is correct. They had just a lot of issues then, and they're still having a lot of issues now.
So, in your opinion, what are some of the current issues that they're having now? Is it still with the methods that they're euthanizing, or is it some other problems? And again, this is your opinion, that they're having, or can you or is it just overall a cluster?
Well, it is overall. I do not know about the being dogs or cats being euthanized, because I was helping Judy with the Bossier Parish dogs in Benton, Louisiana, out in Benton. So I wasn't particularly helping the Bossier. I was actually helping the parish dogs.
All right. And so again, forgive me for not knowing all this because I'm like Duke, brand new down this rabbit hole today. But educate me on how the process works. Does Bossier, the parish, and the police jury have their own animal control, or do they outsource to the city? Or do they use vet clinics? I mean, how does all that work?
Well, what they do is they do have outdoor runs out in Benton, and they do have it's not really a facility, but they do have an office out there for the ACOs, and they do have some outdoor runs. So I was told that they basically have a contract with Bossier City Animal Services. I asked to see that contract. I haven't seen the contract, but they said they have a contract with Bossier City Animal Services. So every dog that comes through from the parish that goes to Bossier City Animal Services, they do get $72.50. If I'm not correct, I think it's $72.50 for every dog that goes through there.
Okay,
Oh, so there's money changing
okay,
hands.
so
That is
that's where
correct.
that's where I wanted to jump in here. So there's a money factor in this thing here. And so
Yes.
as I understand it, Miss Judy, and I think you just said Miss Judy, right?
Yes, I work very closely with Miss Judy.
Okay. So sources tell us that Miss Judy was let go, and some of the things that transpired with Miss Judy was that, she was told that the city got mad and that they, were going to stop taking parish animals, and that especially like rescue animals, and that Bossier City was not happy. And part of the reason they weren't happy was because they weren't getting any money and they weren't getting credit, for rescue efforts. Have you heard anything like
That is,
that?
yes, that is correct. I was out there helping Judy. Um, Basically, I'm a networker. I call myself. I go out there and help Judy get some pictures and videos, and then I network them to my rescue partners in town and obviously out of state. Um, and we were saving most of the dogs that were in the parish. Very, very few even had to go to Bossier City Animal Services.
Now,
Um,
Brandy, I have to stop you, and I'm gonna put pause on you for a second. Rex, does that
Hmm.
sound like vanity to you because they weren't getting credit?
I know.
Are you are you freaking kidding me?
What are
Because
we
the
going to have to
one,
name a bridge or
they're-
shelter after them or something?
so they're not getting money and they're not getting credit. So what are they going to do? Oh, good
Yes.
grief. Okay, I'm sorry, Brandy. I had to stop. I had to go ahead. Finish your story. I'm sorry.
no, we hardly had any dogs go to Bossier City at all. We were saving almost every single dog that came through there. Um, there
Now,
was
when
a
you
few
you were
that we couldn't
saving
save that were
you were
aggressive or
you were saving them, meaning you were finding homes for them to go to.
I was sending them to reputable 501c3 rescues. And those
Gotcha.
rescues would pay everything for the dogs to be vetted and transported to their rescues.
So
Okay.
so that's not costing the taxpayers of Bossier Parish any money, right?
That is correct. Actually, me and probably about two other volunteer citizens in the community paid for all the vaccinations, paid for all the dewormer, and paid for all the heartworm tests that went to every single dog out there in the Bossier Parish
Wait,
when
wait,
I was
wait a minute,
helping.
wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Stop. You're telling me that all the animals that you guys, volunteers, that you guys were covering the cost of the medications. Did you say food? Did you say food too?
And we have another volunteer would drive down, and he's from out of state, and he would help and bring down food that Miss Judy would feed the dogs. That is correct. He
All
brought
right.
down some high quality food, so they were not paying for food, vaccinations, or heartworm tests or anything. That is correct.
Okay, so I got a question then. Where does this $72.50 or whatever the amount, if that's the correct amount, where does that come into play in all of this?
Well, I was told by Eric Hudson on the phone. I did get a phone call. We were texting, and he said he doesn't like the text. He would like to talk on the phone, which I totally understand. There's no paper trail there. He told me that he did appreciate that Judy and I were saving dogs from the parish, but Bossier City Animal Services is very upset that they are not getting the credit, the positive outcomes, or they're not getting the funding from the dogs going filtering through from parish to Bossier.
I have a feeling, a sneaking suspicion that it was the funding side of that. And just so you know, Louisiana is a one-party state, so as long as you're a party to the phone call or the conversation, you can record the phone call. And that gets around
and
Eric's.
That was my big mistake.
Yeah, that gets around Eric's. Yeah, his paper trail woes. So, all right. So basically, this is the way I see it. Now, Duke, you can step in and correct me, or Brandy, you correct me. Basically, the city wasn't getting paid, and so they were tired of this.
Yes.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
All right, that's it in a nutshell. I got it.
Nope. Okay, now Rex, I have to put the bad guy hat on here for a second. I got to put it on. Brandy, I'm sorry. Look, and you know, we pride ourselves on our show that there's no place and nobody that we won't go at. So in our comments, someone made a comment, and I want you to address this comment. They said, "What is the story of some animals being diverted and shipped off to other states at a pretty good price?" And they said, not guide making the normal channels of owner recovery. Would you comment on that?
Well, the dogs that we save are on their stray hold, which, not including the day the dog comes in. Then after that, they have a 3-day stray hold. So basically, and actually every dog that came into the parish, Judy would send me a picture and tell me where they got picked up at. I posted that dog on social media and shared to all the pages of where to hopefully connect that dog with the owner, because that was my first priority, would be hopefully get the dog back home. If that dog did not get picked up by the owner, then I would contact my rescue partners and see if they could help save this dog. So it would have to go to Bossier City Animal Services because they do euthanize, and I was trying to avoid that. So the dogs would go to rescue. There is no pretty price on no dog's head. The only price there was if they went to Bossier City. That's when they had a price on their head, which was $72.50. None of the rescues, they paid for everything. They paid for transport. I would raise the community paid for those dogs. We raised money for health certificates so they can go out of state. And the rescues, they're lucky if they break even with their adoptions. But that's why they're not doing it. They're doing it to save lives also.
Well, I think, and I may be mistaken, what was being suggested was that, it was a market for dogs outside of the state, and that somebody was paying a good price.
Because a lot of places that we send dogs to, there's spay and neuter laws. So They are short on dogs in some areas than others. So like here we don't have a spay and neuter law. So other places do. So they are short on dogs, believe it or not. We don't have that problem here, obviously. So we try to send to places that they're wanting dogs because there's a shortage because they have spay and neuter laws.
Gotcha.
And we don't have any here, which we do need.
Well, that makes sense.
All right, so
yes.
So I'm trying to piece all the dots together here. Basically, nobody is really getting rich off of this, correct?
No, far from it. We actually probably lose, hopefully break even, but no, we mostly, especially like the volunteers and rescue, we usually lose money. That's why there's a lot of, fundraisers and things like that for, obviously these rescues do. It's because to try to raise some money just to be able to, keep saving more lives.
Well, then
And
what
I'm a
is the deal?
volunteer, so I actually lose money every time I, help a dog and, provide. And if I can't raise the money, then I pay out of my own pocket. So I actually, come out of my own
Well,
pocket.
to you guys, I mean, hat tip to you guys. I mean, look, I love my dog, and I can tell you that if my dog, if my dog, I said it earlier in the show, and I'm going to say it again. If my dog accidentally got loose and they picked him up, and then is that accurate? I was told within 3 days they could euthanize an animal. Is that accurate or not?
If they pick up a stray, it's 4 days if you're including the day the dog is picked up. So the day that's picked up, that's 1 day, and then 3 days after that, so it's 4 days. The dog, if could be, yes, that's correct, could be adopted,
Okay, so
rescued, or euthanized.
Okay, so I want to paint the picture for, the 200 people watching this show live right now. If your dog or your pet gets loose and, it was an accident, they get out, and 4 days later, if Tommy the Tahoe Chandler gets your dog in Bossier Animal Control because he's trying to make his 7250, I mean, he can put your dog to sleep. And oh, by the way, he's going to prevent volunteers from getting in there like yourself and taking pictures to try to find the original owner or find somebody to rehome this dog with. I mean, am I thinking that correctly? Is that a
Yes,
possible
we were
scenario?
we
That's not.
were posting the dog first, obviously to try to find connect with the owner, because I would want somebody to help me if that was my dog. Then after the 4 days, if the dog is was not claimed by the owner, then what we would do is we would try to find a rescue and get that dog safe, so it wouldn't have to go to Bossier City Animal Services. Because if it goes to Bossier City Animal Services, they're already full. They tell people they're full. They're turning people down. So why would we want any of our dogs to go there? That means they would have to euthanize our dogs when they go there, or they have to euthanize the dogs that are already in their shelter to accept the parish dogs. So my role was to step in and try to save those dogs with Judy so we can get them safely out to reputable rescue so no dogs would have to be euthanized.
All right.
But
So,
we were cut off from that because I was told directly on the phone they didn't. Bossier was not. We were doing great. We were saving many dogs. I got a phone call that says this all had that Bossier City Animal Services was not happy that they weren't getting the funding from each dog that came to their shelter, or they weren't getting the positive outcome numbers, is what I was told.
all right. But here's what I'm trying to focus on. Aside from the wonderful work that you and all the other people that volunteer their time and do this, I'm trying to figure out, and Brandy, you may or may not want to comment on this so you don't get any hot water, but I'm trying to figure out what the hell, excuse the language, the incentive is for Tommy and them to screw all this up and have this bad publicity. Really. I mean, I pick on Tommy a lot, but $72.50 a dog, if the city is also covering, and so it's taxpayer dollars, if the city's covering all the food and all that, and then somebody's getting paid, they're buying the food and vet supplies or whatever from one of their friends, I mean, I maybe could make a connection here, but I'm trying to figure out what the end game of all this is, because it is not a good PR campaign for stray dogs and cats and whatever other animals to be running around the city and roaming around the city. What is the end game here? Why?
To be honest, I have no idea. I wish I knew, because everybody was doing such a great job, and then we got shut down.
I mean, at $72.50, let's say $72.50 a dog. I mean, are we talking millions of dollars here, or what are we talking about?
No.
Yeah, that's my point.
When it comes from the parish, it wasn't very many dogs. There was a lot of phone calls, but the dogs that got picked up wasn't overwhelming that it could be. I mean, it's obviously overwhelming for everyone, especially for the ACOs, but it wasn't just.
Brandy, you've been around a while. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, okay, look, all of us. I would say this for everybody, is our population as humans, is it decreasing or increasing? Obviously, it's increasing a little bit, right? So
Increasing.
does it stand to reason that the population of animals is going to increase just a little bit, right? So Bossier, if I understand history correctly, Bossier City, when they built the Animal Control Center, they built it a certain size and they renovated it. But the catch that I understand is when they renovated the Bossier Animal Control Center, they didn't make it bigger, they made it smaller. You've been around, Brandy. Is that accurate or inaccurate?
I was told that they took out runs. I have not been there since they renovated it, to be honest. But I was told that they took out runs to make certain walls and to make certain areas. So I heard that it's for less dogs.
Well, so I got to tell y'all, here's my opinion. My opinion is it seems that Bossier City and Tahoe Tommy are more interested in euthanization and killing animals than they are on adoptions and rehoming of animals. And if you fall on the side of you think we should just kill them all, then you know what? It sounds to me like Tahoe Tommy's your guy. But if you fall on the side of you care about, you know, adoptions and rehoming and taking care of animals, you're probably not there. And that's the conclusion I'm coming to here.
Well,
That
and
this is about money. This is about money.
not just that. I mean, I posed the question, or we did, several shows ago. Was Butch Ford actually a puppy killer? And well, it sounds like he might actually be now.
Well, it comes back to Judy, Rex. I mean, Tommy Chandler in the email with, Councilman Smith, when Councilman Smith was obviously he was getting emails from, pro animal folks, and he's weighing in to try to do something about it. Obviously, from the veterinarian's email, Councilman Montgomery, Councilman Free had been getting communications, and they didn't do anything. They did nothing. And yet Councilman Smith gets it. He tries to do something. The mayor tries to shut him down. He basically pulls rank on him and says, hey, no, if you're going to have anything to do with this, you got to go directly through me. And oh, by the way, I'm handling this problem. It's handled. It's taken care of. Obviously, it's not taken care of. Or he was saying, hey, we've got it taken care of, and here's how we're going to take care of it. We're going to kill the message. And the message is, Miss Judy, we're going to prevent the
That's
message
correct.
from getting out about what we're doing. We're going to take the message out. And you know what they did? They got rid of Miss Judy. And that meant that Tommy Chandler had to communicate with Butch Ford or the parish or the police jury or Julianna Parks while she was partying in Washington Mardi Gras and say, hey, we need to get rid of this lady who is rehoming these dogs because it's costing us money in Bossier City. That's it.
That's it in a nutshell. Brandy, let me ask you this, and I put this question out. I think you were in the comments before the call, and you may have commented on this. But what is your opinion? Whether you agree with us or we agree with you, what is your opinion on what it would take to fix this issue in the city? Is it throwing more money at it? I mean, what do you think would help fix the problem? Is there a solution?
Well, we need to spay and neuter laws. That's what number one, in my opinion, what we need is spay and neuter laws. And then when we get those, if we ever got those, then we would need to enforce those laws. That would basically help all the, so this wouldn't keep reoccurring over and over of us have to saving these dogs and watching these dogs die in our community. But the parish also needs to in my opinion, instead of giving all the money to the Bossier City, is to build their own facility to house their own dogs, and have volunteers, and for us to keep saving animals.
Okay, so first thing is spay and neuter laws. Second thing is, well, we got to have an enforcement, which means punishment or fines or whatever if you don't, or whatever that is. And to be honest, I'm pretty conservative, but it is more government. But I have to say, in this case, I think it's justified.
If we don't, we'll have more dogs that die. It's just
Yeah.
in cats. It's as simple as that.
It's just a fact of the matter. Okay. Well, Duke, any more questions for Brandy? Or Brandy, is there anything more that you would like to add?
No, it just seemed like this, I just want to feel like I was helping Miss Judy, and then I felt like I, was her voice, and she couldn't be the big voice, and now we were both cut off from helping.
And the problem is not getting
and saving
any
lives.
better. Yeah, it's not getting any better.
No, it's not getting any better. This was all everything was working out. We were saving lives after lives until Sherry from Bossier City Animal Services stepped in and said she wasn't happy what was happening, and everything kind of started from there.
Very interesting story. And look, I really appreciate you coming on the show and kind of being in the hot seat a little bit and telling your story, because this is very public, and certain powers that be are watching.
It's time.
Yeah.
This is important, and look, to Brandy and to Judy and to all of you, I saw several folks in the comments that volunteer, and to all of you guys, hat tip to you. Thank you for doing what you do. I mean, look, I would do anything for my dog. I mean, they're like a family member. They are a family. I shouldn't say like. I mean, that's degrading. They are a family member, and you know what? Thank you for doing what you do, because not everybody does it. Thank you.
Thank you for getting it out there. We need all the help we can get.
Okay, well, you're welcome back on the show anytime. If you hear any updates or anything changes, positive or negative, we do positive stuff every once in a blue moon here. But if you hear anything, just let us know. You're always welcome back on the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Brandy.
Thank you, Brandy. So, Rex, I got to pose a question. Here's what I got to say. Has Tommy Chandler broken another campaign promise?
Well, surely not.
Well,
of course, the other way to look at that is he's being consistent. I mean, if he's going to break one, he may as well break them all.
Well, right. But, I mean, good grief. So, with that question in mind, I mean, go ahead and share my screen. I think I've got the next part of this show to keep trudging along on this
looky there.
Right here.
Yeah, looky there. Old Tommy trying to get the votes when he was mayor or running for mayor, but not so much he's worried about it now.
So during a campaign, it's important, and on February 17th of 2021, Tommy Chandler for mayor, you see the leash on that young pup there in the snow, and the Tommy Chandler sign that says, "This is Venom the Husky with one of my signs during the storm." I just want to remind everyone that if you are cold outside, so are our furry friends. Please make sure to keep your pets warm during this time. They are counting on you. Well, Tommy, you're right. It's cold out there right now, but it's not snow, it's wet. And they're counting on you. And you've chosen to be mad, and you've got people who are rehoming these, pets to get them out of the cold and find them adoptions. You've made a point to try to get them cut off. With coordination with Butch the Hatchet Man Ford, y'all did it. You found the solution. You cut off information about what's happening. You did it. Good job.
All right. So Julie Ferris had a great comment. I'm going to put it up on the screen again, and it was simple. She says, recap, what can we do? So as a viewer of the show or watcher of the show, what can folks do to help the situation out? Now, I can tell you the first thing is you need to flood Tommy's office with phone calls. If you have his cell phone, text him, email him, let everybody know you're not happy. Send carbon copies to your city councilman. Send them to the police jury, not just your police juror, all the police jurors. And look, we were over 200 people watching this show. If each of you that is interested in this, and I would argue that that's the majority of people, would grab a couple of friends and y'all all start flooding them and letting them know, let Tommy know he needs to find, if he's going to find one campaign promise to keep besides term limits, this is it. He needs to at least try to keep this one. Let him know.
Mike Lombardino says, not certain that's a correct statement regarding Tommy. Well, Mike Lombardino, if Tommy Tahoe Chandler has done something different other than, condemn, these volunteers to not be able to take the effort to try to find adoption homes for these pets rather than euthanizing them, by all means, give me the proof. Because by the comments, you had a councilman at large that was seeking to address the problem. He made a point to jump out there and put the councilman at large in his place to say, you stay out of it. I'm handling this. And you know what the handling part of it was? The handling part was to cut the people who were finding homes for these dogs so they wouldn't have to be euthanized. What am I missing? I mean, if you know another part of this story, by all means, jump on out here. If you're going to carry his water, I am open to debate. In fact, if you want to come on the show, you have my number. Message me. You are welcome to come on. Tommy Chandler is welcome to come on the show right now. Butch Ford, if there's an alternative, Julianna Parks. I mean, if you're through partying in Washington Mardi Gras while the parish is going to the dogs and animals are suffering, if you want to come on the show and debate and say where we're wrong, you have our numbers. We gladly will encourage you to come on the show. And I don't know what else I can say, Rex.
Well, I would rather we start closing with something slightly positive. So Courtney Wingate has put up a nice comment with some solutions. Bossier City Animal Control needs to open up the building to Bossier Parish dogs and cats. They need to allow volunteers in to take pictures and do the networking. We need to put they need to put their ego down and quit worrying about a pat on the back, or money in their pocket, and worry about the dogs that walk out the front door and not placed in the incinerator. So that's solutions. And then what you need to do as taxpayers, voters, constituents, and all that, you've got to reach out to these councilmen. You've got to reach out to the mayor. And again, you've got to reach out to your police jury members and let them know you're not happy.
How much dog food, worm medicine, and vet medicine has any of these elected officials paid for and donated prior to date for all of these dogs? I want to know, because these volunteers have been doing it themselves. I want to know how much Tommy Chandler has donated. How much? I know. I mean, look, go to Cut 40, Rex. Go to Cut 40. Let's go ahead and pull up here. If it may not pull up right because it was in the format you had earlier.
Yeah,
but
let's see.
I want to know. I mean, if we're going to carry the water of Tommy Chandler and say that, okay, he's doing a good job, he's doing what he has to do. I mean, look, some dogs have to be euthanized, but this is bull crap. You have people who are publicly advocating for these animals and trying to rehome them and prevent them from having to be euthanized, and they're going to be cut off, by Butch Ford, who arguably has a homestead exemption in Caddo Parish, and by state law shouldn't able to even hold the position in Bossier. I mean, I'm mixing it up here a little bit. I mean, but good grief, where does this end? Right. These ladies were doing they were doing a good job. This isn't right. It's not right at all.
So let me get this pulled up a little better here. Hold on a second, because we're running into the same issue. These were long screenshots, so bear with me just a second. I'm going to get this thing pulled up.
I'm getting my pulse up here a little bit.
a little bit. But look, there are a lot of people passionate about our furry friends and fur babies, as everybody calls them, and I understand it. I've got a chocolate lab, and we've got a Well, we didn't get him from a shelter, but he's a rescue dog, and so I completely understand. Now, is this what you wanted me to share? This was a photo that Tahoe Tommy put up back in February of 2021 when he's trying to pander, to
Again,
the
during
people
the
that are
campaign.
right.
Another
Right.
campaign promise.
He says, taking care of animals isn't something that is a new cause for my family. For my Shelby's birthday in 2014, and he posted this publicly, instead of presents, she accepted donations for Nina's Road to Rescue. Paula has donated to Nina's over the years and various other various rescues. This isn't a new issue for me and my family to support just because I am running for mayor. The situation with animal control is a newer issue that I am learning about thanks to several people in this group. I promise, as mayor, we will find a solution to this problem. That is a line of BS, Tommy. Prove us wrong.
Well, you're not running for mayor now, and you are mayor right now. And what are you doing? Well, just let them run wild. Let them
Yeah.
run wild. And if they do come to us, let's kill them. Let's
Yeah.
kill them and cut the parish off as well, because by gosh, they better not find somebody to take these animals in. They better send them to us so we can euthanize them and get our $72.
Just a shame. All right,
And
Mr. Lowry.
oh by the way, we're going to build a statue too.
Yeah,
we
$300,000.
we have to have that statue.
$300,000. Yeah, not just name the carriageway after him. We got to build a statue, also.
Tommy, you want to show you got a backbone? Veto the statue.
Yeah,
You got the
we dare
power.
you.
You're the one guy. I dare you. Let's see what
Yeah.
happens.
All right, Mr. Lowry. What else tonight? We've successfully been able to do a show after Facebook tried to cancel us, basically, at least for tonight.
Well, they did cancel us. They cut us off. They censored us. If you were there at the start of the show, you saw it. If you ever had any doubts, if you had any doubts about whether there was real censorship or not, you saw it firsthand, and we shared what they said. They said we made sexual something or another, whatever. And if you were watching, there's no such thing. So, but that was what you saw it firsthand. You may be left, you may be middle, you may be right, but you can't deny what happened tonight.
Right. All right. So even with all those hurdles, we were bumping 200 people again. We appreciate everybody that stuck with us as we changed and finally got the show back going back, and the people that switched to YouTube and then switched back to Facebook. We appreciate all of you. If you want to know how you can help us out, if you have information about the animal control situation or anything like that, send it to us by email, bossierwatch@gmail.com, or if you're worried about your job or position or reputation or whatever the case may be, you can make a free, anonymous protonmail.com account. Go to protonmail.com. We have no financial affiliation with them. Don't put any identifying information in it. Make an anonymous account. Send the email to bossierwatch@protonmail.com. We do check and read those. That's how we get a lot of information. The old-fashioned way, bossierwatch@gmail.com. If you feel inclined to, go to bossierwatch.org. We have a donations button. We have some coffee cups for sale, and I swear I'm going to try to get around to some T-shirts that you can purchase. A couple of dollars here and there help us out. This that we do is not free. We pay for the software and various other things, so we appreciate it. But even if you don't donate, just share it out. Tag some friends. Let them know about the show if you were new, if you enjoyed the content. So we appreciate everybody that watches.
Yeah, we do. And hey, guys, look, I mean, we're about trying to make our community better. It may be, I don't know, at the end of our days, it may be the wrong way, it may be the right way, who knows? But no matter what, we're talking about subjects that make people uncomfortable, that needs to be discussed. And if it leads to an improvement in our community, then I think we have been successful. And by you watching, and that helps us to be successful. So share the show out, encourage people to watch the show. And if you're not somebody that normally watches our show, like and follow our show. We do this every normally on Tuesdays, and we talk about tons of different political issues,
Right.
and it's okay if you don't agree with us politically, or vice versa. That's fine. We still value your opinion. We want to hear it, even if we don't agree, because
Right.
that's the only way we improve is if each of us, communicate, we have dialogue, we debate. It's only through debate that we improve and we make our lives better. We have to argue and we have to debate to get to the root problem and improve. That's the only way it happens.
I would agree with you 100% and couldn't have said it better. Mr. Lowry, I think we will see each other again Tuesday night, our normal night. We're going to, try to get back on schedule again. I apologize for having to move to Thursday and then our issues tonight. But anyway, at any rate, that's it. That's all I've got
Good
tonight.
night, folks. Thank you, Rex. Good night, folks. Appreciate y'all watching.
All right. See you later.